You know, we sure have been waiting for Sonic Frontiers for a long time now. When was it even announced? What do you mean a year and a half ago? So, I guess that's where we are right now. Sonic Frontiers is just 2 weeks away from release, and I guess we've just gotta deal with it. It's been a long road of high ups and very, very low downs. But, we've finally reached the endpoint. Sonic Frontiers is coming so soon, that I can almost taste it. But before we get to that point, we've got to go through an agonizingly long pre-release period, where every waking second is spent thinking about Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Frontiers, and only Sonic Frontiers. I think I may be going crazy at this point, but I just need that game so darn bad. But you know what else I need so darn bad? This video's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Jokes aside, the very first thing I wanted to talk about with Sonic Frontiers is actually the music. Now, I've never actually talked about my thoughts on the Sonic Frontiers OST, but you can be sure I'm absolutely in love with it. The Sonic Frontiers OST sounds great, and that goes for the open world music and the cyberspace music as well. And even then, it also goes for the vocal themes of the game, I'm Here and Vandalize. All the tracks released for the game thus far I've enjoyed to at least some degree. I'm particularly fond of how the Overworld music isn't just boring piano themes. They actually went ahead and created some really emotional tunes for this. The Kronos Island theme is one of my favorite pieces of music in the Sonic franchise entirely. As well as that, the theme of the Starfall Islands is great, and from what we've heard of the battle themes, which is not much except for a bit of the demo footage, I think they sound great, but maybe could use a little more action to them. And on the completely opposite side of the spectrum, we've got the cyberspace tracks, which really lean into that EDM style that Sonic Forces was going for, but I think here they finally nailed it. My favorites include the Sky Sanctuary theme, which sounds great, and I think it's the same vocalist as in Sonic Forces for Aqua Road, but I'm not entirely sure of that. As well as that the Chemical Plant theme sounds really good. It sounds like they went all out on the EDM there. In general, the Sonic Frontiers OST feels like a pretty natural step forward for this game. It's got the same EDM style you know to expect for the cyberspace levels, it's got some beautiful and mature pieces for the open world, it's got some pretty decent battle themes, and overall I think this OST is great. But now moving on to what actually matters, the gameplay. I think that gameplay is where Sonic Frontiers can truly begin to shine. Everything we've seen so far just looks great, and I think I'm going to enjoy this game a lot. Specifically, I think the combat finally giving us fast and flashy combat, instead of slowing us down and giving us hordes of enemies, is truly what's going to push this game over the edge. Alongside that, the gameplay loop just sounds like it flows really well together. You do some open world platforming, get the collectibles to save the character on the island, head to a cyberspace stage, get the keys, beat the bosses to get portal gears, collect Chaos Emeralds. It all just sounds like it flows really well together, and in that sense, I think the cyberspace levels were a good idea. It's just that I'd hope they would have been a little bit more original. I think the best thing this game did is allow us to customize Sonic to the way we want to play the game. This allows for a lot of gameplay variety. You can change Sonic to be slower and hit harder when you need to fight combat, and you can change Sonic to be a little bit faster when you need to do some open world platforming. It just allows for the game to have a much better sense of flow. The craziest part of this all to me is how much the gameplay has just been gradually improving, and looking better and better ever since that IGN first reveal. Now the gameplay has just completely turned itself on its head. Everyone is excited for this game now. Well, not everyone, but I'm sure a lot of people are now. Definitely more than when the IGN gameplay first dropped. Personally, I'm really excited to sink tons of hours into this game, fully completing and looking at everything it has to offer. And now, phew, that was a lot. So let's move on to the story of the game. In the past, I really didn't care much for Sonic stories. I'd usually just skip all the cutscenes. That goes for the older games too. The Dark Age stories were just kind of ridiculous at some points. They had some okay ones like Unleashed, and the Adventurer had some good ones like Heroes and Adventure 2, but in general, I don't think most Sonic stories are that good. But I think Frontiers touting us with its secrets and mysteries has really helped a lot with my excitement for this story. And while I haven't read any of the IDW comics, I'm sure that Ian Flynn will do a better job than Podsec and Graf at writing some decent character interactions, although the constant references he makes do get annoying. The way they're advertising this game's story just makes me excited to jump in and find out the secrets of the Ancients like they've been touting. I want to find out where you break down the wall between dimensions, what it has to do with cyberspace. What is cyberspace? All these questions and more, I just want answers to. And that's what's making me excited for this game's story. As well as that, and the possible connection this game has with Sonic Forces. This has only been rumored so far, and they did show off that part of the Death Egg robot, inside one of the promotional images for the vinyls of the game, I believe, for the OST. And Sage's color scheme being very close to another past Sonic villain. I wonder who that could be. A few additional things to note: the graphics of the game look great, the game itself looks great, but there's a lot of things that are kind of jarring, like the pop-in and the floating level elements in the air, but I think as I'm playing the game, it won't bother me that much. But that is still definitely something to improve for a possible Frontiers 2. Which, let's just hope is coming, because this concept really could be improved upon. Another hot topic of the game has been the animation, and here I do have to agree with the consensus of the majority, being that, while a lot of the animations look fine, I think it could definitely use some polishing up. And to end off this video on a positive note, if you're excited for Sonic Frontiers, don't let what other people say about the game get to you, because at the end of the day, it's still your opinion about the game, and one that you will form when you play it. It's not someone else's, no YouTubers, or no person on Twitter will ever change that. I've been excited for this game ever since the beginning, and while there have been a lot of bumps in that path, I think we're finally getting close enough to the point where I can just be purely excited for the game. I think it's going to be great, and let's just hope I'm not disappointed. So that's it for me, Devron, signing off.